Often thought of as the most influential financial guru of all time, Robert Kiyosaki grew up with the benefits of having two very different dads in his life, his real dad and his friend's dad. The dads were complete opposites when it came to earning, investing, and keeping money. His real father, poor dad, believed in the security of a career and higher education. Rich dad emphasized accumulating assets rather than constantly purchasing material things that cost money every month. Rich dad defined assets as something that puts money in your pocket, rather than something that must be paid for month after month. By all appearances, poor dad was doing well financially. Thinking his home was an asset, poor dad continually bought more and more expensive homes, believing that because he had a mortgage interest deduction, it was a smart thing to do despite overextending himself. Poor dad worked more hours, made more money, and paid more taxes. He thought the best way to earn more money was to acquire more degrees. He climbed the career ladder, only to pay even more taxes and accrue more debt. Poor dad was highly educated and high-salaried, yet had very little knowledge about earning and keeping money. Employed as an educator, he eventually lost his job and fell into financial ruin because he spent his entire life minding someone else's business, and he never learned the critical skills of business ownership. When his job suddenly ended, so did his earning capacity. He also believed and taught that most rich people were dishonest or immoral in some way. He subscribed to the Robin Hood philosophy of robbing the rich to give to the poor, and believed that money is the root of all evil, where Robert Kiyosaki believed that the lack of money is the root of all evil. He resented Robert Kiyosaki's other father because he employed people, invested well, and became wealthy. Instead of creating jobs and paying people, poor dad lamented over income inequality. By contrast, rich dad had very little formal education but was very intelligent when it came to earning money through assets. He trained Robert Kiyosaki to never become addicted to a paycheck by hiring him as a young boy and never paying him with money. Instead of getting paid, he received invaluable lessons, like working for free in order to generate income sources that eventually paid him. This set the stage for Robert Kiyosaki to build his own wealth and not be attracted to a job. This rich dad lesson taught Kiyosaki that most people were addicted to their paycheck, and this kept them from becoming creative in terms of generating income, believing instead that their jobs offered security. Rich dad instead encouraged young Robert to create jobs for people. Kiyosaki's real dad thought he was being taken advantage of and encouraged him to quit working for his rich dad. He felt his son was being taken advantage of, never understanding the critical lessons Robert was learning. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. The rich don't trade hours for money, but instead they choose to buy things that earn them money, assets. They understand that a job is not secure and can be lost at a moment's notice. Kiyosaki defines assets as stocks, bonds, income-generating real estate, notes or loans, and royalties from intellectual property such as books, music, patents. This illustrated how the poor and middle class work for money, the rich have money work for them. Kiyosaki stated, "Workers work hard enough to not be fired, and owners pay just enough so that workers won't quit." Assets put money in your pocket. The most controversial claim Robert Kiyosaki proposed in his book is that your home is not an asset. He stated that even if your house is paid off, it still isn't an asset because we still have expenses such as maintenance, utilities, and property taxes. He said that we never truly own our home because if we stopped paying property taxes, the town or city would take it, proving his point. However, if you turn that home into a rental property, it would be considered an asset as it generates income. Kiyosaki owns millions in rental properties, relying in part on the income from these assets. You must be financially literate. Financial literacy is critical to being successful. In other words, this is what you do with money once earning it. This involves how to keep people from taking it, how to keep it longer, and how to make money work and provide a continuous income. Many people claim that they don't care about money, yet they'll work a job for 40 hours per week, addicted to their paycheck. Mind your own business. Too often, kids are trained from early on to go to school, get good grades, go to college to get a safe job in order to be successful. While education is critically important, there are many forms of learning. In reality, no job is truly safe anymore. Most of us know of someone who worked year after year clinging to the illusion of security, only to be laid off unexpectedly. In addition, high-paid employees pay the highest income tax. Too much of their pay goes to the government instead of building wealth for themselves. Most people spend their entire career working on someone else's business, generating income for their employer, while completely ignoring their own business or assets. Instead, it's best to create income streams so you're in control of your financial future. Use corporations. If you're rich, the poor might try to find ways to take your money out of resentment. However, rich people typically are protected by corporations. They own everything in their corporation, which can provide protection against liability. Secondly, by sending your income through a corporation, you'll be taxed like the rich, allowing you to shelter some of your income. Employees are heavily taxed as their income is earned, taxed, and then spent. Corporations earn, spend, and then are taxed. Paying for expenses with before tax dollars will lower the tax obligation significantly. Manage risk instead of avoiding it. The wealthy spend their money on investments in businesses that will likely provide them with a nice return. The wealthy weigh the risk versus return when spending their money. The rich concentrate on not just the return on their investment, but the risk involved, in order to make educated decisions. The fact is, there's even a certain degree of risk associated with the job. As Kiyosaki said, winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success.